first time. 2 more laps, Brady. You can do it. Alex clenched his teeth and pushed himself, but the memories stayed. There was his dad, hovering over his bed that September Tuesday morning, placing his hand against the side of Alex's face. Buddy, time to get up. You gotta ace that math test. We'll talk about the other stuff when I get home. The other stuff. Alex blinked, and the hillside that surrounded half the track appeared again. The other stuff was Alex's determination to parlay his years as a fire cadet into an immediate position with the FDNY. As a teen, Alex could already see himself in the uniform, rushing into burning buildings, climbing atop blazing rooftops, rescuing families and putting out fires. His dad saw things differently. College would be better. His grades were good, his SAT scores in the top 10%. Why battle fires in Manhattan when you could work in an office with a view of Central Park? Alex was sure that was the message his dad was going to deliver that night. Only the message never came. The terrorists picked that day to... Alex found a reserve of energy for the last lap. Come on, Bo. He could feel the heat in his face and neck and arms, but he pushed ahead. Of course, he hadn't gone to college, and he hadn't spent another day desiring a job with the FDNY. He'd done the only thing he could do. He moved as far away from New York City as he could and threw himself into earning a sheriff's badge. That way he could consume himself with the one job that mattered after September 11. Get the bad guys. Didn't matter if they were drunk drivers or gang thugs, bank robbers or terrorists plotting the next big attack. Alex wanted them off the street. That desire was all that drove him, the only purpose he felt born to fulfill. Get rid of the evil. He and Bo. So that some other high school senior wouldn't have to sit in his Shakespearean English class and watch his dad murdered on live television. He took the last 10 yards at a sprint, his heart bursting from his chest, and then he dropped back to a walk. The smog didn't pass for oxygen, and he couldn't catch his breath. But he'd been here before. He knew how to work with the heat and dirty air. He pursed his lips and blew it all out, emptying his lungs, making space for his next breath. Go on, Bo. He followed the dog to the water, and by the time he reached the bleachers, he was breathing again, ready for the hills. He downed the rest of the first bottle and paced a few yards in either direction. Bo stayed by his water bowl, but his eyes moved from Alex to the hill at the other end of the stadium. Give me a minute. He grabbed his towel from the bleachers and buried his face in it. The hills were the best part. For a few intense minutes he could feel what his father had felt, the way he must have pushed himself up the stairs of the North Tower, looking for victims, seeking the wounded and trapped on one floor after another. He tossed his towel on the bleachers and stretched hard to the right, lengthening his core muscles and bringing relief to his tired body. The left side was next, and when he finished, he nodded to the dog. Come on. He jogged to the base of the hill with the German shepherd on the grass at his side. Then, without waiting, he lowered his head and dug into the hillside. The ground was steep, all craggy dirt clods and forgotten weeds, but his footing stayed sure and steady. Move it. Push harder, he ordered himself. Halfway up the hill, the burning began, and Alex welcomed it. Again his surroundings faded, and Alex could see the stairwell, the way it must have looked as his father climbed higher and higher. People rushing down the stairs, firefighters rushing up. He would do this as often as he could, every day when he didn't don the uniform, and he would remember everything his father stood for. Everything that drove him and gave him purpose in life. Bo made it to the top of the hill ahead of him, tongue hanging from his mouth halfway to the ground. But even then, the dog was ready for the downhill, ready for the next 9 trips back up. Faster. Don't let up. He wiped the back of his hand across his wet forehead and focused on the path back down. At the base of the hill, he glanced at his watch. He needed to push through this thing. He still had to grab a shower and run a few errands before dinner at the Michaels' house. And he wouldn't miss dinner. The evenings with Sergeant Clay Michaels and his wife Jamie were the only social invites Alex received. Most times he didn't really want to go, didn't want someone worrying about him or probing around in his personal life.